when a man loves you truly and deeply. It is not a possession nor a conquest. Love in its purest form is not something to be held or kept. Love, in fact, is not a thing at all. It's an unfolding, a continuous movement. To understand it, we have to let go of the usual ideas, ownership, promises, and conditions. These ideas only serve to create cages around the very thing we want to be free. When he loves you, it's as if he sees the world in you. Not in the sense of projecting onto you what he wishes you to be, but in recognizing that you are as vast, complex, and beautiful as the universe itself. He is not interested in trying to solve you, control you, or change you instead. He marvels at the mystery, accepts it, and appreciates it. When love is real, it cannot be confined to ownership or control. We often grow up in cultures that view love as something we capture or hold on to, like acquiring a prized possession. This idea of love as something we can own, however, leads us into fear and jealousy, creating tension where there should be trust. To genuinely love someone is to see them as they are, free and whole in themselves, not as a reflection of our own needs or expectations. True love honors the sovereignty of another person, seeing them as an equal, not as something to complete us or to fill an absence within ourselves. When a person feels free to be exactly who they are within a relationship, a beautiful paradox emerges. Instead of wanting to run away, they are drawn closer. Freedom in love does not mean distance or detachment. It means creating a space in which both people can breathe, explore, and exist without fearing that they must live up to another person's ideal. In this space, both partners can express their true selves, flaws and all, without the need to hide, mask, or pretend. To love freely is also to release the desire to control the outcome of the relationship. This might feel counterintuitive, because we often enter relationships with a vision of where they should go, how they should look, and what they should provide. Yet, by holding on to rigid expectations, we close ourselves off to the spontaneous and surprising ways that love can grow and change over time. When we let go of that control, we make space for love to evolve naturally, free of the pressure to conform to our fantasies or timelines. Jealousy, possessiveness, and insecurity often stem from seeing love as a possession. These feelings arise from fear of losing someone, fear of being alone, fear of inadequacy. When love is rooted in freedom, these fears gradually lose their grip. There's an understanding that love, by its nature, is not something you can cage. Trying to hold on to love with a tight grasp only makes it slip away. It's like holding sand in your hand. The harder you squeeze, the faster it escapes. But if you hold it loosely, without pressure or demand, it stays with you. Free love does not mean careless love. It involves deep respect and attentiveness to the other person's needs and boundaries. It is not detached or indifferent, but it also doesn't impose limits or try to shape the other person's life. Instead, it's a commitment to be there fully, without the urge to mold the other person into our ideal. This kind of love says, I am here with you and I honor who you are, just as you are. When love is free, it encourages each person to explore their own passions, dreams, and purpose. It's an energy that supports rather than stifles, inspiring growth rather than limiting it. In this way, love becomes a partnership of two complete individuals who choose to walk together, not out of dependence, but out of genuine affection and respect for each other's journey. When a person truly loves another, they don't attempt to unravel or define them completely. They don't feel a need to understand every aspect, motivation, or thought as if the person were a puzzle to solve. Instead, they recognize that part of what makes a person captivating is their complexity, the layers, contradictions, and mysteries that cannot be simplified. This kind of love values the wonder of another person's inner world, marveling at it without demanding to know every detail. It's the recognition that just as life itself is boundless and mysterious, so is every human being. This kind of marveling is rooted in acceptance. Rather than approaching love with the intent to change or fix anything, there is an appreciation of the other person as they are, in all their uniqueness. In true admiration and love, do not seek to perfect the other, but to appreciate them as a complex and evolving being. When we release the need to have our partner conform to our expectations, we allow space for authentic love to flourish, creating a connection that honors the other person's individuality. There is also a certain humility in marveling at the mystery of someone we love. It's an acknowledgement that we will never fully know or control another human being. To marvel is to accept our own limits, to recognize that each person has experiences, dreams and fears that may remain hidden, even from themselves. It is this acceptance of the unknowable that makes love so profound, understanding that the person beside us has dimensions beyond what we can see or understand, and yet still choosing to embrace them fully. Love, when it honors mystery, brings a sense of reverence and awe to everyday interactions. Conversations become deeper, laughter becomes richer, and silence becomes more comfortable, because both people recognize that there's no need to fill every gap or answer every question. In marveling at each other's mystery, they give each other the freedom to change and grow, knowing that love is not dependent on static definitions. This approach to love nurtures curiosity and keeps the relationship alive, preventing it from falling into the predictability or monotony that can come from trying to completely define or categorize each other. Marveling at the mystery of a person also shifts the focus away from surface-level traits. Rather than getting caught up in appearances, accomplishments, or social roles, it encourages seeing beyond, valuing the deeper qualities that make a person who they are, their kindness, resilience, humor, wisdom, or the way they perceive the world. It's a reminder that what we see on the surface is only a small part of the whole, that each person has an inner life that is as vast and boundless as the universe itself. In this kind of love, there's no pressure to explain or justify every part of oneself, which brings relief and freedom. Each person can feel safe in their complexity, knowing they are not expected to simplify who they are to fit a predefined mold. This allows a love that adapts and evolves, making room for the many versions of oneself that may emerge over time. It's a love that doesn't fear the unknown, but embraces it, trusting that whatever lies beneath the surface, whatever changes or remains the same, is worthy of wonder and acceptance. The mystery becomes an invitation to grow together, not through answers, but through shared exploration. Love, in its truest form, does not need grand displays or endless words to prove itself. Instead, it reveals itself in small, quiet gestures that speak volumes without needing to say much at all. It's easy to get swept up in a world that values loud declarations and public affirmations, where the depth of love is often measured by extravagant gestures. Yet genuine love often lies in the subtle, quiet actions that go unnoticed by others. These small, gentle expressions are not about impressing or showing off. They are about being present, showing care, and nurturing trust. A quiet love is felt in the warmth of a gentle touch, a reassuring look, or the simple act of truly listening. It's not the loud proclamations of affection, but the steady, consistent presence that offers comfort and reassurance. This type of love doesn't need to declare itself because it's felt in the way someone makes you feel safe, understood, and respected. Genuine love often operates in the background, offering support without seeking recognition, understanding without demanding explanation. It's a love that sees what's needed and responds, not out of obligation, but out of a sincere desire to care for the other person. In quiet love, there is no pressure to perform or prove. When someone truly loves with depth and sincerity, they don't feel the need to constantly assert their feelings. They trust that their love will be understood through their actions, however small. They might make a cup of tea without being asked, or offer a listening ear without interruption. These gestures may seem simple, but they carry a depth of understanding and empathy that words alone cannot convey. Quiet love knows that sometimes just being there is more meaningful than anything that could be said or done. Genuine love also values authenticity. In a relationship marked by quiet, genuine expression, there is no room for pretense or superficiality. It's a love that allows each person to be real, to express themselves openly without fear of judgment. This authenticity builds a foundation of trust where both people feel free to share their vulnerabilities. In this way, quiet love becomes a safe space, one where there's no need to put up a front or hide behind words. It's a love that invites honesty and openness, allowing both partners to be truly seen and accepted. There's also a kind of grace in this quiet love, a grace that allows space for imperfections. Genuine love does not demand perfection. It does not focus on flaws or shortcomings. Instead, it sees beyond these things, accepting each person as they are. This acceptance brings peace and comfort, creating a space where both people can be vulnerable without fear of rejection. In the silence of this love, there's an unspoken understanding that no one is perfect, yet both are worthy of care and compassion. Quiet love is often enduring, grounded in consistency rather than intensity. It's not driven by fleeting emotions or grand gestures, but by a steady, reliable presence. When someone loves in this way, their affection is like a gentle river that flows continuously, calmly, and without interruption. It's not a love that ebbs and flows with circumstances, but remains present through life's ups and downs. This kind of love may not make headlines or turn heads, but it is profound in its reliability and resilience. The beauty of quiet, genuine love lies in its simplicity. It doesn't demand anything extravagant, and it doesn't strive to be seen. Instead, it exists in moments shared, in the peace that comes from knowing you are valued without conditions. It's a love that, while understated, provides a profound sense of belonging, a quiet assurance that you are seen, known, and appreciated just as you are. To truly love someone is to accept them without conditions, to love them not for what they offer, but simply for who they are. It is an understanding that the other person is not a project to be fixed or a puzzle to be solved. Love without conditions removes the layers of expectation that often taint relationships, and instead fosters a deep, peaceful acceptance of each other's flaws, strengths, and imperfections. When love is unconditional, it recognizes that the essence of a person is not defined by what they can give or how they meet a certain standard, but by their humanity. Acceptance without conditions means letting go of the need to change or shape someone according to our desires. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that love is about improving the other person, making them more of what we want or need. We may want them to act in a certain way, to behave according to our rules, or to meet our expectations. But true love is about accepting someone's uniqueness, recognizing that their thoughts, behaviors, and ways of being are not a problem to be fixed, but rather a part of the intricate complexity that makes them who they are. This acceptance is freeing, not just for the other person, but for ourselves as well. It removes the burden of unrealistic expectations and allows love to be experienced more fully, without resentment or frustration. When we love without conditions, we are also acknowledging the freedom of the other person. We give them space to be who they are, to express themselves fully, without the constant pressure to meet our expectations. This kind of love doesn't demand conformity. Instead, it embraces the differences and the individual quirks that make a person who they are. There is no need for one person to mold themselves into the shape of the other's desires. In fact, it's in the honoring of those differences that love becomes more vibrant and deep. The relationship is not about a perfect match, but about two people meeting each other as they are and finding a way to grow together from that place of acceptance. This unconditional acceptance also allows for vulnerability. When we know we are loved for exactly who we are, without the fear of judgment or rejection, we can truly open up. It creates a space where honesty flows freely, without the fear that we will be rejected for our imperfections. We can share our dreams, our insecurities, our fears, and our joys without the need to perform or hide parts of ourselves. In the absence of conditions, there is room for authenticity. We can stand in our truth, knowing that the other person will still love us, regardless of our flaws. Acceptance without conditions also allows for growth and evolution. People are not static beings. We all change over time. When love is conditioned on a fixed version of who we are, it can be suffocating, leaving no room for growth or transformation. But when love is unconditional, it nurtures the space for growth, allowing both people in the relationship to evolve naturally. The love remains constant, while each person is free to change, to stumble, to succeed, and to learn without fear of losing the love that supports them. In this kind of love, there is peace. It is not a love that demands or controls, but one that simply is. It is calm and accepting, like a deep breath taken in a safe space, where all the complexities of who we are can simply be. It is in this acceptance that love becomes truly profound, for it sees the other person not as a role to play or a box to tick, but as a person deserving of love simply because they exist. Trusting in the unknown is a cornerstone of true love, yet it is also one of the most challenging aspects of any deep connection. It requires a surrender of control, a willingness to step into uncertainty without the need to map out every step of the journey. In a world that often prioritizes certainty, security, and predictability, to trust in the unknown asks us to relinquish our desire for rigid expectations and to embrace the mystery of life as it unfolds. This trust is not about blind faith or ignoring potential risks, but rather about recognizing that the unknown is an integral part of the experience of love. At its core, trusting in the unknown means acknowledging that we cannot control everything. Love, by nature, is unpredictable. People change, circumstances shift, and the future is never set in stone. To love someone deeply is to embrace this uncertainty, to know that no matter how much we plan or prepare, there will always be elements outside our control. Instead of trying to force the outcome or create certainty, we learn to trust that, even in the absence of clear answers, love will guide us forward. It's the ability to be vulnerable, to step into each moment without knowing what comes next, yet still choosing to move forward together. In trusting the unknown, there is a deep sense of freedom. When we let go of the need for answers and control, we open ourselves up to new possibilities, to growth, and to exploration. Life is full of surprises, and when we trust in the unknown, we allow space for those surprises to enrich our relationships. Love becomes less about the destination and more about the journey, about the experience of being with someone and learning about each other in the process. The future may be uncertain, but that uncertainty is what keeps the relationship dynamic and alive. Trusting in the unknown also means accepting the inherent risks of love. Love involves vulnerability, and with vulnerability comes the possibility of hurt, disappointment, and loss. To trust in the unknown is to embrace those risks, understanding that even when things don't go as we expect or hope, the act of loving is still worthwhile. We trust that, regardless of the challenges we may face, the connection we share will carry us through. There's an understanding that not everything will be perfect, but that love's power lies not in perfection, but in its ability to endure and grow through the uncertainties and trials of life. This kind of trust requires letting go of the need for constant reassurance. When we trust in the unknown, we no longer feel the need to constantly seek validation, to control the narrative, or to know everything in advance. Instead, we lean into the present moment, knowing that love is not a plan to be executed, but a fluid experience to be lived. It's a dance with the unknown, where both people allow themselves to be surprised by the twists and turns that come, without the need to predict or manage the future. Trusting in the unknown also nurtures patience. We learn to allow the relationship to unfold at its own pace, without forcing it into a preconceived mold. We embrace the ebb and flow of life, knowing that there will be periods of stillness and times of challenge, but that each stage has its own value. Instead of rushing to define where the relationship will go, we trust that the process will reveal its own wisdom and direction over time. When someone truly loves you, they see beyond the surface and reflect back to you your most authentic self. In the quiet moments of connection, in the way they look at you, listen to you, and respond to you, they offer a mirror not of who they want you to be, or who society expects you to be, but of who you truly are. This is not a reflection shaped by judgment or expectation, but one grounded in acceptance, appreciation, and understanding. When we are loved in this way, it brings us closer to our own truth, allowing us to embrace parts of ourselves we may have forgotten or never fully recognized. To be loved in this way is to be seen in a way that transcends the roles we play, the masks we wear, and the identities we have constructed over time. It's an invitation to be vulnerable, to let go of the layers of protection we often build in response to fear, insecurity, or past wounds. This kind of love allows us to strip away the facades and step into our most authentic selves without the fear of rejection or criticism. When someone sees you for who you truly are, it affirms that you are worthy just as you are, not because you meet some standard or ideal, but because your essence is enough. In a relationship where someone reflects your true self, there's a deep sense of validation. It's not about them telling you who you are. It's about them recognizing the qualities in you that you may have overlooked or dismissed. They see your potential, your capacity for growth, and the beauty of your uniqueness. Through their eyes, you can see yourself more clearly. Their love acts as a mirror that reflects back to you the depth of your own being, often showing you aspects of yourself that you may have forgotten or failed to appreciate. This kind of reflection is not about praise or flattery. It's about recognizing your worth on a profound level as someone who is worthy of love and respect simply for existing. The gift of reflecting your true self also encourages growth. When we feel seen and accepted, we are more likely to explore the depths of who we are, to seek out our passions, dreams, and desires. This kind of love doesn't stifle us or try to mold us into a specific shape, but instead nurtures our freedom to evolve. It's a love that supports our journey of self-discovery, even if that journey leads us to change, to question, or to become someone we have not yet fully known. Reflecting your true self doesn't mean that the other person holds you in a fixed image, but rather that they see you as a living, breathing individual capable of transformation and growth. This reflection goes beyond simply accepting who you are in the present moment. It's an acknowledgement of your past, your struggles, and the path you've walked. They see the entirety of you, not just the parts that are easy to love, but the parts that have been broken or wounded, the parts that have healed and continue to heal. Through their love, you are invited to accept all parts of yourself, embracing your history, your complexities, and your contradictions. It's a reminder that love is not conditional on perfection, but is a celebration of the journey, of all that has shaped you into the person you are today. In a relationship where your true self is reflected back to you, there is an ongoing process of mutual growth and understanding. Both people in the relationship allow themselves to be seen without fear, knowing that they will be met with love and acceptance. This kind of love does not seek to mold or reshape the other person, but to honor them in their entirety, offering a space where both individuals can thrive as they are. Through this process of reflection, both people come to understand not only each other more deeply, but themselves as well. It is a love that allows you to see your worth through the eyes of another, helping you to understand that you are valuable not because of what you do or how you appear, but because of who you are at your core.